Guys, AI art is getting even harder and harder to distinguish, and this has sparked a debate online. By the way, disclaimer, ignore this. My neck got itchy. I scratched it. It's not a hickey. I'm allergic to heat. So, this was tweeted out by Deli Sid Official, who goes by the same Twitter handle, writing, artist, quote, it's AI. It's so obvious. Look at the tiny subpixel discrepancy on coordinates x 3006 and y 3811. End quote. I'ma be deadass. I cannot tell anymore. This looks pretty much perfect. And it's a quote retweet of this account called Kiwi, who goes by the Twitter handle for Kiwi. And it is a drawing of Miku or Hatsune Miku, but as a furry. And this drawing looks really, really, really cute and really difficult to tell that AI was used in this piece. And honestly, I'm gonna be real. If the AI tag wasn't present in their bio to where they're telling you, hey, AI is present, please avoid this area if sensitive to AI, then it honestly would be really difficult to identify that some of their pieces is AI. Under the quote retweet made by Deli Sid, they add, even artists in their replies and quotes are having a hard time spotting it. When we get to the point where non-artists, a vast majority of people, can't see any issues with it, it's fundamentally indistinguishable from real art. Artists, you guys gotta change your strategy because just saying, quote, AI bad, end quote, is not gonna work forever. This point that Deli made had a lot of people debating as well. We have proto writing, just because it's a good imposter doesn't make it suddenly good, either in quality or morality. And Deli Sid adds, okay, but just saying it's bad isn't going to make it go away. It's clearly improving, and denying that it's only setting yourself back. If you want to make a difference, you need to change your approach to the problem. Daddy McBoy writes, I'd appeal to your empathy, but you clearly only see the world through a pretty self-centered perspective. Art is an expression. Either put in the time to understand and express yourself, or stop pretending you give an F about anything other than if it can make you self-pleasure. And Deli says, what are you waffling about? Joel Crafter writes, honestly, I never got people saying it's bad as an argument against it. The problem is always the dubious ethicality of it. Like, it's been able to produce stuff that looks good for a while now, so I just never understood saying, oh, it looks bad. Like, it doesn't though. Leviathan Coda says, I've been saying this. It really sucks that art gets scraped by most models without permission at all. I genuinely think the only solution is, if you can't beat them, join them. The only allowed AI models should be the ones that artists build themselves, not using stolen work. And Am writes, I don't know, I've never really seen the argument by itself that AI art as it is as bad as something that makes sense, but instead the fact that it steals art for training. So TBH, it would be more effective to push for policy changes on those AI databases than try to ban it altogether. And other people are making good points as well. Mandoy writes, artist here. Any mistakes here can be easily passed off as human error. We are about to be flooded with artists hiding behind AI, and that's devastating. And Deli Sid adds, this is a real artist using AI to transform their artwork, a truly deadly concoction. This is not man versus machine. This is man versus man and machine. And this is the big thing too that makes it really scary and also makes it more difficult to distinguish AI art in general, because people are getting smart and they're getting clever with it. Because as you can see here, this is on Kiwi's page where they posted a video of a speed paint drawing of them making another drawing. And let me scrub forward a little bit where you can see them kind of like doodling a sketch out for another furry Miku character, or just kind of like another drawing of the same character. But as you can see, they're kind of drawing in the sketch for their version. And this is something that you will see with these AI artists, where they will actually put pen to paper for some part of the process, maybe draw the sketch and then feed the sketch into AI to then have the AI complete the rendering of the piece. Because if you look at the sketch, right, like obviously it's very cute, but the lines are very kind of like amateurish, in where it looks like they just kind of drew it on a phone. It's a little bit shaky. So AI would then be able to take this and clean it up to where the lines are clean and render it. And Kiwi had made this post also on the same day, writing, I prefer AI to drawing. And it's a photo of two furry characters. And under this, Freaky Frank asks, do you draw sketches and then use the AI to finish the illustration for you? And Kiwi says, depending on the situation, if AI can't draw the desired drawing based on the prompts, then I need to draw it myself. So again, here we have a drawing from Kiwi, and it is very reminiscent of what the AI piece is. It does look different, a little bit different from the AI, right? The AI did change some head angles, what was on the canvas, etc. It's a very, very, very rough sketch with some lines and some rough color blocked out, but kind of barely in the lines here. And a lot of people are honestly really confused. We have Is Kitten writing, this account is honestly kind of confusing to me. You can draw, chooses not to, uses AI, but also endorses drawn recreations through reposting, which if you go down their page, they're reposting a lot of people redrawing their furry Miku character. Somehow creates an incredibly robust model so good that artists genuinely couldn't tell it was AI. What is your deal? And Zaire writes, AI sucks, but this person's model only has their art in it. So it's their work, just with a lot of steps cut out. And Kitten says, how can you tell that they're only using their work? I know that they're developing their own AI model, but I didn't know this was based off their art. And Zara says, sorry, never mind, I misunderstood. I think it's just sometimes based off sketches, which is the tweet I just showed you. I'm not saying anything else in their defense though, just discovered that they're a lolly. Sand Snake says, the combination of many and machine is a natural one, to be honest. I guess they meant to say man and machine. We've long wanted a machine to act as we do. IBM 7094 was the first to sing, many machines since have been writing and typing as we do. And now we teach our creations to draw as we do. So as long as we take the correct steps regarding copyright of human artists, this doesn't have to be bad. And Kitten says, I agree with your point, but generative AI has been around for too long for any change to how it learns to have an impact on artists, as well as the fact that there aren't many people who would like their pieces being fed into AI in the first place. And regarding the account, people have their opinions as well. You know, with people writing, how about no, somebody else writing, so you're lazy, somebody writing, then you're not making art. And we have automatic writing, as long as you're informing everyone that it's AI, I really don't mind. I'm actually impressed how AI are making these images almost perfectly. To me, the way I view it, and I don't necessarily view it as the way other people are viewing it, where it's like a very, oh, this is like an innovative thing where it's like man versus machine. I'm gonna be real, I kind of just see it as somebody being lazy. And the thing is, look, I can see that how technology is improving and people have their argument, oh, you know, if you can't beat them, join them. I personally think that if there was a scenario where AI art could be done ethically, with consent, I think that could be very interesting, right? If I could have an AI model that trained exclusively and only on my artwork, I may use it for fun, right? But as of now, almost every single AI model that is out there has scraped off of the artwork of actual artists and largely without artist consent, which I don't deem fair whatsoever. And again, I can offer some sympathy to people who've used AI art without realizing maybe about the ethical reasons behind why you shouldn't use it, but also because maybe they just didn't know. So they were like, oh, I'm not an artist, I kind of needed a logo, I just inputted it into AI art, right? I can see where people arrived at that conclusion. I feel like when you are an artist, when you do have the capacity to draw, and you're able to draw pretty well, but you just choose to shove it into AI for some reason instead, I view that as being lazy or lacking creativity, personally. And back to the original piece, a lot of people were debating the aspects that would prove that it's AI. And here's what some people had to say. Synchronize writes, I think the biggest thing for me was the difference in the paws. One has lines separating the toes, the other doesn't. The pod pads also don't align correctly. And Deli says, all of these could be artist errors or oversight. These don't strike me as AI. And this is the original piece right here. We're looking at the paw pads. I think they're referring to these lines here that are present on this paw, but not present on this paw. Void Kibby says, lining plus the hair and necktie are off. Some very weird bubbles and shading in tight areas where it gets darker than it should. The whole tail. And Deli says, the tail could also be curled. Misa says, this is insane. This is the only AI defect I could find and I'm an artist. And that's in reference to the collar where you can see there's a line art for the collar and then there's coloring that exceeds outside the line and one line art piece is missing. Puskfit writes, that's a mistake that a human can easily make. I see literally no mistakes in this image, bro. And Misha says, yeah, it's really hard to tell because whatever program this person used is really good at imitating art. But sometimes AI does the thing where colors bleed through line art, and that's what I was pointing out. Sucks that it's getting this difficult to tell. Stanley NPC says it's pretty straightforward if you look at the details, not talking about subpixels here. And here kind of referring to the shading, lines being broken, and squiggly lines for the armpit that doesn't make much sense. And Moo says biggest points of interest, but I have an eye for spotting it. Again, the collar, again, we look at the zigzag detailing of the strap, but one triangle is much smaller than the others. Zashi writes, at this point, you can only guess it's AI out of familiarity with the style, and that's only if you've spent an insane amount of time looking at AI art. And Yori writes, honestly, I'd only be suspicious about the art style since AI imagery either looks exactly like this or like a glossy, disgusting, blurry attempt of realism. But yeah, I'd not be able to tell at all. And the biggest thing, again, with telling AI art is sometimes it's really difficult to tell off of only one piece. But if you look through other pieces that the artist has made, you can see more consistency in AI tendencies through the pieces. Consistencies in errors that AI would tend to make. So besides this person posting about some Kiwi mix model, whatever, right? If we look at their older pieces, looking at the flower petals of the dress here, these are flowers along the edge of the dress, but this purple is bleeding straight across and it curls around the leg as if the dress were then to become pants. Kind of some weird things happening with the collar over here too. There's no distinct cut between the collar and the neck. Some weird bubbling with the belts, like a bubblage with this piece, again, being a pretty big one with the glasses being completely broken, like halfway across, like maybe that was an intentional thing, but other aspects like line art of the hand disappearing, which is not very consistent with the style, which is pretty heavily lined. And yeah, like small particle details like flowers kind of not making sense. Other red flags again is just high frequency of posting. Like if somebody is able to make high quality art, but they post literally art pieces every single day, either art is their full-time job or they have a lot of backlog, they're suddenly dumping art out. But if they're posting a lot of art and the art seems to be like changing or improving or of the same quality, and it's in high frequency like once a day or multiple times a day, a bit of a red flag. But at the end of the day, I'm curious as to where your thoughts lie about this debate. There's people on both sides of the coin with people thinking that, oh, if AI art is getting so quote unquote good that it's hard to distinguish whether it's AI art or not, which I would also state is only really possible in this case because it's a very simplified art style. When it comes to more complicated art styles, things are going to start looking jank. Do you think it's okay, or do you think because there's ethical reasons as to why AI art has been stealing art from artists, that regardless if the final outcome looks good or not, the process was not okay, so therefore it should not be used until some regulations can be put in place? I'm curious as to your thoughts about all of this. And again, to wrap this up, don't send hate to the person at the end of the day. While you and I might not agree with the AI art usage, doesn't warrant sending hate to somebody who is minding their business. So again, if you like this video, I appreciate it if you like and subscribe. I also stream on Twitch 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, Saturdays at 6 p.m. PST. So I hope to catch you guys there or in another one of my videos. Peace.